Sebastian Deisler was billed from the age of 19 as the future of German football, a cornerstone of a generation who would compete for the biggest trophies, be nominated for the biggest awards, that would lead successful historic footballing nation all on his own for the next 10 years. Now, you'd be forgiven to assume that this was the opinion of biased fans or opinionated family members, but I could categorically tell you that this was not just opinion, this was exceptional talent that no one could deny. However, as much as people wanted this dream to become a reality, there were factors that went out far beyond the pitch that turned this once expected Ballon d'Or nominee into one of the most depressing cautionary tales in footballing history. So, how did this story begin? Well, for that, we take it back to when Deisler was 18 years old. He was playing for Borussia Monchengladbach in the Bundesliga, and he had had an awful time. Not him personally, the entire squad. The entire team were absolutely awful. They had lost 21 league matches. They pretty much only had 4 wins in that entire league season. They'd been smacked 7-1 by Wolfsburg, they had been destroyed 8-2 by Bayer Leverkusen, and had been relegated into the second division with their tails tucked between their legs. For all intents and purposes, it was the worst foray into Bundesliga football for Sebastian Deisler, someone who had impressed the youth squad, the youth managers, the team itself, and had been promoted into the first team and was a clear shining light. He had clear and evident talent, which essentially garnered 26 clubs around Europe circling for his signature. Now, from these clubs, he had made his choice, Hertha Berlin. And this was a smart choice. Hertha Berlin had entered the Champions League after finishing 3rd place in the Bundesliga. They weren't the tippy-top team in Europe, or Germany for that matter. But this was a club where Deisler could go to build up his talent without the pressure of actually having to win every trophy, and game by game, build up his strengths and become a main star for the team. Unfortunately, shortly after his arrival in 1999, Deisler did suffer a cruciate ligament rupture, a worrying tale of things to come. Now, upon his return, things started off great. In Hertha Berlin's Champions League group, they had come up against European heavyweights, which included Chelsea, AC Milan and Galatasaray, and had qualified into the next round successfully. Now, the formatting of the Champions League was different in this era. Essentially, there were 2 group stages and then there was knockout rounds. Very confusing, but they had qualified from the first group stage, but were then knocked out in the next group stage round. So it was what it was. They made a good go of it, and Deisler made a great account for himself. So much so that in February 2000, he was given his debut for the German national team, which was amazing timing because 4 months later was Euro 2000. Now, this was a great opportunity. We have seen careers flourish of performances in major tournaments, defining moments where good players turn into great players. I mean, hey, we've seen world record transfers happen off the basis of a few matches in international competition. This was Deisler's chance to shine, a chance to make a real name for himself. And considering he was playing for Germany, you'd think they'd have a really good run. Well, things didn't go as planned. Germany finished rock bottom of their group. Although Deisler appeared in all matches for Germany, it was not enough. Germany went out in what was a major embarrassment for the country. To clarify, it was not Deisler's fault at all. The squad needed rejuvenation. It featured many players over the age of 30. I mean, just to clarify again, they had Lothar Matthäus playing in the Germany team at the age of 39. Deisler was the youngest player in the team at the age of 20. In fact, he was the only player born in the 80s. So it was clear for the public eye to see. Building a team around Deisler made a lot of sense. Returning back to Hertha, the impressive performances continued for Deisler. However, in October 2001, he would sustain another knee injury, this time to the synovial membrane of his right knee. Now, I want you to remember this because this will be very important for later. This injury kept him out for the remainder of the season and, unfortunately, kept him out of the 2002 World Cup, which Germany made the final for, unfortunately losing, of course, 2-0 to Brazil. But the golden opportunity to represent your team, potentially represent them in the World Cup final as well. And you never know, if Deisler was on the pitch playing the way we know he could have played, from the images we've seen, the references we've seen, he might have made an impact. Now, off the basis of this, 2 massive long-term injuries would spark worry. However, in spite of this, Bayern Munich, the biggest team in the history of German football, didn't even quiver spending 20 million Deutschmarks to secure Deisler's signature. The evidence of unmatched raw talent, coupled with exceptional dribbling ability and a high IQ for the game, at such a young age, made the signing a no-brainer for Bayern. Management has seen him as the future face of the entire Bayern team, and an actual successor to Stefan Effenberg, who had been a strong leader for the Bayern team for many years. However, things did not end up as planned. Deisler only made 62 appearances in the Bundesliga in 4.5 years, being riddled with countless injuries and setbacks, which also included a shock cancer diagnosis and was admitted twice for depression. These setbacks isolated are enough to derail a person, but to have each problem compounded on each other, it is no surprise why Deisler would refer to himself as empty and tired and not want to endure this torture anymore. He did what was seen as a strong comeback in the 2004-2005 season, where he appeared nearly 50 times for club and country, winning the domestic double with Bayern and also getting third place with Germany in the Confederations Cup that summer. Things were looking positive, with an opportunity to represent Germany in the home World Cup the following year on the horizon. There were even expectations that the German team could in fact win the whole tournament with the squad that they have assembled. So Deisler carried this momentum into the next season. Things were going well, a league and cup double on the horizon again with Bayern. Unfortunately, in March 2006, Deisler suffered a knee injury to the synovial membrane in his right knee, the same one he suffered nearly 5 years earlier. Remember when I said, remember that injury? Well, it sparked up again, and it cost him his place in the German national team for the 2006 World Cup, as he missed the rest of the season. At this point, he was beyond devastated. He was forced to watch an entire nation come alive to support Germany in their home World Cup and get third place. Deisler was broken by the whole ordeal, not just getting injured, not just missing a once-in-a-lifetime home World Cup, but everything. He returned in November of 2006, but the damage had been done. He had a significant lack of confidence of ever being the player he was, as well as the player the media deemed as the future of German football. He made 5 appearances before retiring mid-season in January 2007 at the age of 27. When talking about his career, Deisler states that the pressure he faced at Bayern to perform played a strong part in his depression. The unfathomable pressure of being tasked to save German football on its own at the age of 20 did not help either. The fortunate thing about today's age is issues surrounding mental health are encouraged to be talked about, with support being given without haste, especially within football where the stigma is forcibly trying to be removed. When discussing his own career, despite his world-class level, talent and ability, Deisler simply came to the conclusion that despite all this, he was not made for the football business.